Welcome. You're watching Focus on France 24. Mogadishu has become one of, if not the most dangerous cities on earth. The Somali capital has been the scene of a fierce battle between Islamist militia and UN-backed government troops for years. The country's had no stable government since the early 1990s, and recently the conflict has intensified. Well, today, Islamist militia raided the offices of 3 UN aid agencies and said they would expel them from the country. These are the same forces which are currently holding 2 French agents who they kidnapped last month. Well, Stephanie Braquet has been working on and off in the city of Mogadishu. She joins us tonight, though, from Nairobi. Let's get some news of her experience in that war-torn city. Well, let's start, Stephanie, with today's news. Those UN aid agencies were raided by the Islamist militia. Is Somalia now more isolated than it's ever been?
Actually, the situation now in Somalia is that the Al-Shabaab controls most parts of the country and most parts of Mogadishu. And their attack today against the UN compounds show that when they want to threaten the international community, then action follows. The Al-Shabaab don't hide the fact that they are highly supported by Al-Qaeda, and among them are hundreds of foreign fighters. The situation in Mogadishu is that the government currently controls hardly 1/4 of the capital, and the president himself, as you will be able to see in the story, can't even go out of Villa Somalia without a big escort. And now fighting is going on every day in the capital. Wounded people are overwhelming the hospitals of the town, and the troops of the government are taking position and then are withdrawn by the Shabab. And the only force now that can prevent the Islamists to take entirely over Mogadishu is the peacekeeping mission of African Union. But this mission lacks equipment and lacks troops because no country is ready to send troops in Somalia, and also their mandate is very limited.
Now, tell us a bit more about your experiences. You've lived and worked in Mogadishu on and off. It's something that foreign journalists rarely do. You've met people living in the city. Tell us a bit about day-to-day life there.
Well, for a foreign journalist to go to Mogadishu now, and even for aid worker, is very difficult and very dangerous because kidnapping is a permanent danger, a permanent threat. Kidnapping has become a big business in Somalia. But for the Somali themselves, the living conditions are very hard. And I was talking to a Somali soldier in a hospital, and he was telling me, you can't not take a side. You have to take a side, whether it's with the government or with the Shabab. But being a young man in Mogadishu without a weapon is just impossible. And I remember talking to a young guy who was a former student at school, and he was just telling me, staring me in my eyes, saying, I just need a life. I just need a normal life. For now, most part of Mogadishu has been totally emptied, and the population have fled to IDPs camp around Mogadishu, and actually Mogadishu looks like a ghost town now.
All right, Stephanie Braquet, many thanks indeed. We're going to take a look now at that report Stephanie sent over for us.
K4 crossroads in South Mogadishu. Life had gone on here despite the war, but now war is part of everyday life. It was in this hotel that the 2 French security advisors were kidnapped, even though this strategically important road junction is under constant guard by peacekeeping troops from the African Union.
It is true that the threats of kidnap, for ransom, whatever it is, are there. That is why it would be very important that any foreigner coming into this country, especially the southern part of Mogadishu, must take precautions, must liaise with the forces on the ground.
The Al-Shabaab Islamist militia controls 3/4 of the city. Fighting with government troops is an everyday occurrence. Hospitals are packed with people wounded in this desperate war, in a country abandoned by the rest of the world. This soldier is 25 years old. His most recent wound left him with 3 bullets in his arm, but he knows he'll soon have to return to the front.
You must be a side. If you are not become a side, both two sides, you will be always harmful, or you are unserious. You can't even work. You pay some money or some facilities to us supported, and you don't know where it's expended. Huh? If you come, you are kidnapped. That's why I'm very sorry. We cannot be supported.
In Mogadishu, it's inconceivable to be a man and not take part in combat. The Al-Shabaab militia is actively recruiting. This man fought in their ranks for 2 years, but after asking too many questions, the Shabaab decided to eliminate him. He escaped at the last minute.
Nowadays, I didn't get any information because I can't communicate them. I'm feared that they will kill my family, because my family, they live is around under Al-Shabaab. So even I changed my number. They don't know where I am now, where I live.
This is the presidential palace, Villa Somalia. It represents the heart of power, but has been turned into a bunker. It comes under mortar attacks regularly. Every visitor is a suspect and searched thoroughly before entry. The president rarely ventures out of this golden prison and doesn't seem overly concerned by the gunshots going off nearby.
The government is conscious of the situation. This is a young government with very limited financial means. We have received uniforms, but not enough for all our troops. Despite the problems, our soldiers are still dying to save their country. This is proof of their motivation and courage.
Mogadishu is a ghost town. Parts of the city have been completely deserted by the population. But after 18 years of civil war, commerce continues. Some trade in humanitarian food aid, while others import and sell their goods. For many, business is thriving.
And the operation is going on well as before, and we don't have any problem about the port. All this cargo you have seen is going to Bakara market. Mainly it's going to Bakara market.
Bakara is a stronghold of the Islamist insurgency, and each incoming truck has to pay them a tax. Liban decided to do business with the African Union peacekeeping force, AMISOM. He sells them electronic goods such as MP3 players and mobile phones. But he's paying a hefty price for his choice.
Okay, it's very good quality. It's okay. You tell me when you use it. How is it?
When AMISOM was not there, I wasn't being threatened. But now AMISOM have to live in my buildings, which they have to secure that area for their own interest. That makes my life in danger also. They think that I'm the one who called for AMISOM, which I'm not the government. But these are politics, which I'm not involved, I'm just a businessman.
And what kind of threats do you receive? What do they say to you?
They say the same things they always say, that they're going to kill me, they're going to behead me, if they catch me alive, that kind of things.
Peacekeeping troops are considered an occupying force by insurgents, and so are subject to frequent attacks, roadside bombs and suicide attacks on their convoys. AMISOM's priority is to protect government troops and institutional bodies, but both their number and their mandate are too limited.
I don't think we can sit and watch as armed opposition groups are building up and wait until they attack you and overrun you.
Help is clearly needed, yet not many African countries are willing to send in extra troops to Somalia. There appears to be no end to the stalemate. The international community seems powerless to intervene, and there are no signs that the war will end anytime soon.
A startling report sent to us by our reporter Stephanie Broquet, who's been living and working in Mogadishu, one of the few foreign journalists to do so. Well, that's it for this edition of Focus. Do stay tuned. More international headlines coming up.